This series is a dumpster fire that burns brighter with every episode. At the very least, it's entertaining trash. I grew fascinated with just how bad this series folded out to be, as the story continued to be what felt like endless amounts of nonsensical sci-fi plots thrown together into a blender. Instead of reaching any kind of resolve to its plot, it just keeps on unnecessarily adding and adding more until the very end, on top of a sea of plot twists also. I sat horrified as I witnessed the others, the most terribly designed CGI monsters I've ever seen. I can't help but laugh and be unable to take giant bases with flowers and legs seriously as they wobble towards trying to kill people. Add to this some of the most lazy animation ever, that being the constant use of still frames during fights with flashy lights and cheap effects added to make it look like animation. Not only that, this series has a hilarious obsession with having the characters sit down on the couch and talking boring exposition for so long, so many times, it becomes very noticeable. The music is terrible and I couldn't get into any of the openings and endings. In that giant group of terribly written characters, nearly half of them get no development or barely any, and the viewers are constantly forgetting that some of them exist. Some of them spend 95% of their screen time across 26 episodes literally just standing there. But there is one diamond in the rough, that being Arashi. She is the only good thing about Scarlet Nexus. It's tragic that such a great character got stuck in such a terrible series. The plot is so messy and convoluted, I am not even sure how to talk about it without getting a headache. It's about saving the present because everyone died in the future besides the one who caused it. Time traveling has allowed one of the cast to see who this is and then go back without explaining herself as to why that person must die. Thus, she gets looked upon as if she is out of her mind. A military group featuring kids with supernatural abilities has been created to fight the others. I mentioned earlier to protect humanity. There are secret organizations turning humans into monsters. Secret organizations in the snowy parts of the world, and even more secret organizations on the moon. The main cast are constantly splitting into factions, and everyone starts betraying each other. This is just the beginning of the story, really. Then there's the man with the obsession over a woman who isn't even his. Karen is hellbent on bringing Alice back even though her own man told him to stop and get over it. That doesn't stop Karen from resetting time a ridiculous amount of times and throwing tantrums at the main cast. Still, I do respect him for his insanely driven motivation to help her. I find it odd that Fubuki didn't want in on this plan, but he didn't seem to see the need for it and preferred to move on, I suppose. The characters are nearly all annoying, boring, and overly badly written, and just forgettable. Yuito is yet another bland protagonist, blinded with his naive feelings of love and friendship. He almost dies several times because his logic is just flawed. Kasane is the even more annoying version of Yuito. She has the personality of a 60-year-old librarian. Kaguru is the smug, ancient-like human that exists for not much rather than to make jokes. Hyuga has the most inconsistent character model out of all of them and is constantly shape-shifting as a result. She was reduced to a piece of fanservice meat eventually. Hanabi's only purpose is to scream out Yuito's name and cry whenever he is in trouble. I think her power was fire manipulation, but they completely abandoned trying to animate her battle very, very early on. Again, so yeah, she had fire powers, but they just never battled. I think after episode maybe 4, they never showed her fire abilities again. That's just sad. Genma and Shiden have only received seconds amount of screen time and are so insignificant I can't even remember anything about them. It doesn't even matter. Luca is Karen's little brother that does nothing much than to have to look at his brother's stubbornly psychotic ways. He can teleport the main cast, which gives the writers a cheap and easy way to get the team out of trouble. Tsugumi does nothing other than to use her ability to slightly see the future to give the writers a cheap and easy way to get the team out of trouble. Arashi is the only character that matters. She doesn't care about all the drama and nonsense in the plot. She knows what to do and what needs to get done, and puts in a lot of work herself since she is a hacker that can move extremely fast. She doesn't let things get to her, unlike the coward crybaby Yuito, and often takes it easy and eats good food while relaxing. She often lays around and feels to have to put up with the nonsense of the team. She has the most relevant lines in the series and is like the voice of reason. The Scarlet Nexus ride was amusing, but this is something I want to forget moving forward. 40 out of 100. Thank you for listening.